Hello everyone, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Black Widow expansion for Marvel Legendary. So this is a 100 card expansion, so one of these small box expansions for Marvel Legendary. And in it, of course, it has the standard 5 heroes, 2 villain groups, 2 masterminds, and 4 schemes. This expansion is kind of abnormal in the sense that it doesn't really add any new mechanics or keywords, and rather it just kind of has new uses for older keywords. So the keywords in this expansion, we do have divided cards, which have appeared in many sets, where cards will have 2 halves to them that you can choose which one you want to play when you do that, and that's always very cool to see. Not too much new there. We do have Dark Memories returning as well, which is really neat, where you count the number of hero classes that you have in your discard pile, and you get an attack bonus, or an enemy gets an attack bonus equal to the amount of colors found this way. There's a lot of ways of manipulating it, which is really cool. So if you have 2 classes in your discard pile, you could purchase another card from the HQ to add a 3rd class to your discard pile before playing a hero card with Dark Memories. Or conversely, if you were able to reshuffle your deck into your discard pile back into your deck, you can then reset that number so there's 0 classes in your discard pile. So it's very cool. And actually, the next mechanic is the dodge mechanic, returning from the Legendary Villains set. And that is another cool way of manipulating your discard pile, because if a card has dodge, it allows you to discard it instead of playing it, and then you can draw a replacement card. So this allows you to, in some cases, reshuffle your deck to reset your Dark Memories, but it also, if you discard a hero card, that goes into your discard pile, thus giving that class as a Dark Memory. So that's very cool, and I really like in this expansion how those 2 keywords, Dark Memories and Dodge, work together. It's very fun, and I do enjoy that quite a bit. And you see that a lot with the Black Widow character in this set. She has a lot of cards that either dodge or give you Dark Memories, or even both. And that's really cool. Kind of mechanic there to build around. And then the last keywords and mechanics are really in this set is the Undercover and then Unleash keywords. So Undercover is a keyword that appeared in the Shield expansion, and what it means is you can send your heroes undercover, which puts them in your victory point pile, and they're worth 1 victory point while they're in there. And this is used to determine your shield level in the shield expansion based off of the number of shield cards in your victory pile. That's your shield level, and some cards will reference that. But it can also be used to thin out your deck, so if you send some of your pesky starter cards away into your victory pile, sending them undercover, then they're not in your deck. So, it's essentially, it does a similar purpose, serves a similar purpose as KOing them. But this expansion adds a new way of manipulating the cards that are sent undercover by having the Unleash keyword, which is the only actually new keyword in this set. And when you unleash a hero from undercover, that means you take one of the heroes, you take a hero from your victory pile and add it to your hand, which is really cool and can have some really cool moments. And some of the characters do really cool things with this mechanic. Yelena does some cool stuff with this, where she has cards that when you play them, they must be sent undercover. So it gives you a 3 attack or whatever, and it must be sent undercover after that, meaning you can't draw it again. But she has other cards that when you play them, it allows you to unleash cards from undercover, meaning you can play that card again. So it's very cool with her kit, where you're having some cards that you're sacrificing, but they're not gone forever. There's a way of getting them back by playing another card. So it's almost used as a temporary KO pile, which is really interesting. And I do enjoy that quite a bit. And the Red Guardian also uses the Undercover and Unleashing mechanic in a really cool way. And honestly, it might be one of my favorite heroes from this set. And the way he works is all of his cards have a trigger that when they're recruited, they get sent undercover. So whenever you buy it, whenever you would add that card to your deck, instead of putting it in your discard pile, you instead put it in your victory pile. And then they all have some sort of trigger that allows you to unleash it. So one of them is when you defeat a villain, you can unleash this card. Or one of them is, I believe, when you recruit another covert hero, you can unleash it. and various effects there. Whenever you reach the triggering condition listed on the card, you unleash the card, and then you get to add it directly to your hand, which is so cool. It's very thematic, as he faked his death to be able to reveal himself at the perfect moment in the comics there. So that's very cool, and I really enjoy that, where when you're playing with the Red Guardian, you're going to be buying these cards that you're not going to get for a little bit. They're first going to start by going to the victory pile, into your victory pile, but you can then later unleash them from being undercover, and you can get them added to your hand, and you can do really cool stuff. So I really enjoyed both the way that Yelena and the Red Guardian use the unleash mechanic there, and I think for being the only new mechanic in the set, it is a really cool one, and it does some really interesting things with the whole sending your cards undercover mechanic previously used in the Shield expansion. So that's a brief rundown of all of the keywords in this set and how they are used. Going more in detail, I already talked about a couple of the heroes, but we have Yelena, who is going to be having cards that when you play them, they're going to be put into your victory display as being undercover, and then you can play other cards to unleash them. The Red Guardian, which I talked about, his cards are going to be undercover as soon as you buy them, but you can unleash them by doing different things. And then Black Widow with a lot of dodging and dark memories. You also have White Tiger, which is really interesting in this set. She has a lot of cards that have to do with henchmen. She can fight the cards from the bystander stack as if they were henchmen, and when she fights them, she gets the recruit point, and she can rescue that bystander, but she also gets bonuses when she fights henchmen, so that's really cool. And she also has some stuff to do with dark memories and dodge. And then the last hero in this set is Falcon and Winter Soldier, and all of their cards are divided. And they're probably one of the least interesting characters in this set, but they still have some cool cards. Falcon's side of the cards are focused on discarding cards to play different, to be able to play them or to get different effects if you've discarded cards. And then Winter Soldier has cards that allow you to draw more cards, and he has a card that also does trigger with dark memories. And then of course the rare card does harken back to Captain America by referencing the amount of classes you have in your hand. So there's some cool stuff there, and they are fun to play with, but I would say they're probably not as interesting as the other four characters in this set. If I had to pick maybe my two favorites, I'd probably say the Black Widow and Red Guardian, but they're all fun to play in some way. Moving on to the masterminds and villain groups. Oh man, this is the really exciting part. Taskmaster. Taskmaster is the star of this expansion. He is so cool. The way he works is really neat. I've played multiple games that have Taskmaster in it, and I think that this legendary adaptation of Taskmaster as a villain, or as a mastermind rather, is potentially the coolest that I've seen. It's also very simple. He resolves a Master Strike, he'll be stacking it next to himself, and all henchmen will get a static plus 1 bonus for each Master Strike that has been played, and if there was a henchman in the city when the strike was played, I believe everyone gets a wound. So the henchmen are going to be becoming more and more powerful, and of course his villain group that he always leads is going to do a lot of stuff with henchmen, making sure that they don't stay in players' victory piles, and they are going to continue to come into the city again. And that's really cool because, Taskmaster's training his team. But the thing that I find just really fun is Taskmaster starts off with just 5 strength, which is a super weak villain. Red Skull has 7, so very weak, having only 5. But he gets a bonus to his attack, equal to the cost of the highest cost hero card you play this turn. That is such a simple thing, such a simple rule, but it is so cool. If you play a really cool, rare card that costs 8, he's going to get plus 8 attack. Because he's really, he's mirroring and countering all of your attacks. So if you play that rare card, yes, it'll give you 5 attack, but it'll give him 8. So maybe you don't want to play that and have his bonus only be 5, because you played a 5 cost card. So you might be wanting to hold back some of the cards you play, but at the same time, if if you play and you get to do cool stuff, and maybe you can inch out that extra attack there. I think it's a very cool mechanic there. It's honestly, it's pretty simple. You just look at the highest cost card you've played, and that's his attack bonus for the turn. But it's also very cool and very thematic, so I'm very pleased with Taskmaster in this set, and yeah, he's really cool. The other mastermind in the set is the Indestructible Man, and he leads the Elite Assassins, and he's also really interesting. Also kind of a weird mastermind where he actually doesn't have an attack string. The only way of fighting him and defeating him is by shuffling Elite Assassin villains from your victory pile into the villain deck. And then you can defeat them. So if you defeat the Elite Assassins, you can shuffle those back into the deck and defeat him once. Which is really cool, because then all of the Elite Assassins all have really nasty ambush effects. And so I think that's a really cool mastermind where you're going to just need to be defeating villains in order to get to them. You're not actually fighting him, you're just trying to take down his criminal empire, essentially. Which is very fun, and I did enjoy him as well. And some of those villains are going to be sending your heroes undercover, but then as an ambush effect, but then when you defeat them, you can unleash them, which is also cool, doing a lot of stuff there. And they also have cards with Dark Memories as well, which is going to be cool as well. It's also going to be cool as well with the whole, the manipulation you can do to adjust their attack there. So overall, very happy with the masterminds and villain groups in this set. All the schemes are also very interesting as well, and they all really use the mechanics that the keywords bring in to very good effect. One of the cool ones is the Sniper Rifle Assassin scheme, which when a scheme is drawn, everyone must dodge a card from their hand, and they reveal the card that they would draw. If it is a non-gray hero, it is KO'd. It's hit by the snipers, right? And then the evil wins if there's, I believe, four KO'd non-gray heroes per player. Another cool scheme is Corrupt Spy Agencies, which sees you on a scheme twist sending a card from your hand undercover, but then you can also unleash a card that has a lower cost. So you're going to be swapping out the cards you have undercover with this scheme, which is really interesting. And of course, if you have someone like Red Guardian, you'll be able to unleash those heroes even if they were, through other means other than just the scheme. So all of those are really cool, I think. Nothing too complex in any of these schemes there overall, but just some fun twists on the gameplay that are brought about by the keywords that are new or returning in this set. So overall, I really enjoy this expansion and what the new Unleash keyword can do, and all the ways that the keywords, both new and returning, affect the gameplay. I think there's some really fun cards in here, and especially Taskmaster is super cool. I say Taskmaster and the Red Guardian are probably the two coolest things in this set, just the way that their characters are handled. I really enjoy those. But overall, I wouldn't say this is a must-buy expansion, like the way I would say some of the other expansions might be. I really enjoyed this expansion and would recommend it, but of course, it's all up to you and whether or not you think this is something that you'd like to add to your game. But let me know if you have any more questions down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you have any more questions for me, please let me know down in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you when I can. And if you all would be so kind to like the video and subscribe to Maelstrom Gaming, you'll be notified when I upload more content just like this. And until next time, happy gaming!